Chapter 62:43. Seeing that Jimmy Smith was a little nervous, Charlie smiled and comforted him. "Don't worry, no one will do anything to you. The emergency number in China is 110. If you feel threatened, you can call the police at any time." Seeing that Charlie did not want to embarrass him, Jimmy breathed a sigh of relief, straightened his collar, and said, "I'm not here to cause trouble today. I'm naturally very happy that my sister-in-law can find true love again. If you can be more friendly, I can temporarily put aside the dispute and stay to attend the wedding. It can also be regarded as representing the Smith family sending their blessing to sister-in-law." As he said that, he looked at Pollard with a sarcastic look on his face and said, "In fact, I am also very curious about what kind of connections Professor Watt has. That even Bill Gates is willing to admit defeat. I am looking forward to seeing it." Charlie nodded and smiled. "You will see it soon." Jimmy naturally didn't believe it and mocked it. "I don't believe that in a small city, one can find someone who can make Bill Gates admit defeat." As soon as Jimmy finished speaking, a figure hurriedly ran in. It was Steve Rothschild who received Charlie's message. Ever since he drank a glass of medicinal wine from Charlie, Steve regarded him as a savior. Charlie sent him a message asking him to come to Shangri-La, and he rushed over as fast as he could. Fortunately, the hotel he stayed in was very close to here, and it didn't take long to walk. Steve found Charlie as soon as he entered the door. However, according to the content of Charlie's message, he went directly to Pollard, who was wearing a suit and a groom's boutane on his chest, and then said excitedly, "Mr. Watt. Happy wedding, Mr. Watt." Everyone turned around and saw a middle-aged white man in his 50s walking quickly towards Pollard. But most people here didn't know who he was, including Jimmy, Paul, and Mai Ching, who had lived in the United States for many years. The reason is that they are still too far behind the Rothschild family. The Rothschild family has its own team of lawyers, and its level and status are naturally much stronger than the Smith family. Even if the Smith law firm is already among the best in the United States, it is not in the eyes of the Rothschild family. Although Pollard has worked hard on Wall Street for many years and has achieved great success, he has no chance to deal with the Rothschild family. It was only when he was having dinner at Charlie's grandfather's house that he heard about Steve and knew that he was now firmly in Charlie's hands. Now that he saw Steve in person, he guessed his identity. He subconsciously glanced at Charlie, and when he saw Charlie nodded to him, he became more certain of his judgment. Charlie stepped forward and whispered in his ear, "Uncle, this is the Steve Rothschild I told you about. I asked him to pretend to be your good friend on Wall Street. You must not reveal the truth." This, Pollard knew that Charlie could order Steve around, but he didn't expect that the other party could come to help act. But now that Charlie had brought him here, he certainly couldn't let the chain down and mess up the performance. So he bit the bullet and said to Steve, "Thank you very much, Steve. I didn't expect you to come." Steve stepped forward, shook hands with him cordially, and hugged him, and then smiled and said, "With the relationship between the two of us, it's not right for me not to come to your wedding?" Jimmy was a little stunned. He didn't see Steve at all. This was mainly related to the Rothschild family's always very low-key approach in public. It is basically impossible to search for specific information about the Rothschild family on the internet now. Most of the information on the internet is half true and half false press releases and gossip.